I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that.
Solid effort.
On there.
I think so. It looked.
It was an A for asshole.
Isn't it an E for F? Why did they say A for effort when it's actually starting with an E?
Who says A for effort?
Americans.
Yeah, but like, have you seen their grammar? Have you been on the internet before? I don't think they know
It's
anything.
because they grade A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. I was trying to make it.
So did
I
we,
was trying to make a joke. Thank you for
Wasn't it just A for
mansplaining to me what it all means, Alex.
You know what else I'll mansplain to you? Where to find your G-spot.
That's a promise you'll have to keep, buddy. Or should I say,
Welcome! Hello! Welcome to this week's episode of the At Random podcast. I'm your host, Ali.
She's trying to go inside, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if
Where are
recording
you
is
going
picking
inside,
this up.
Sana?
All right, for the people that's not listening on the Discord server, somebody just hopped on to listen to us record, and apparently they're trying to get in on something. I don't know. Maybe she's doing drugs.
Do you think she's breaking in, or is it her own home?
It was something like that. Creepy. All right, let's continue the introduction.
Whatever. If you want to commit crime while listening to this podcast, go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you.
Yeah. Just go live.
Well-
Let us listen in.
Yeah. Well, anyway, welcome to this week's episode of the At Random podcast. I'm your host, Ali. And I first of all, I want to apologize that I haven't been here for the past 2 episodes. But I'm back, just so you know.
With a vengeance.
And what?
With a vengeance.
With a vengeance, yes.
Look, I'm just saying the quality went up the last 2 weeks.
Why do you have to be a dick? Nobody expects you to be a dick, and yet every fucking week.
Hey, last week was good. The one before that was just like a phone one in, but last week was good.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was just like a I don't give a fuck episode. I like that.
Yeah, and we're joined by Alex and Andy. You've heard enough of them, but they're here today anyway, so
Yeah.
here they are.
I'll be sitting
Hello, Andy. How
quietly
you
in
doing?
a corner. Yeah. It's just me. I'll just be sitting here. I'll be quiet. Won't say anything racist or sexually. What is it again?
Inappropriate.
Yeah, sexually inappropriate, I guess.
Sort of
Yeah.
Pedo-like.
Yeah. I'll just
Nothing-
sit. I'll just sit
my
and
God,
watch
yes.
this time.
Yep. I might pull out Alfred Mancock. We'll see. It's been a while. We'll see.
Well,
Like,
I
my
got
life has
some
been so
character
peaceful
too.
the past 2 weeks, and I haven't had to put up with this on every Sunday evening. But I guess I'm exposing myself to this again. Well,
Put
how are
up
you guys
with this.
doing?
I'm just disappointed that you hanging out with me, putting up with this.
Tell
Have
her
you
she's
heard
wrong.
yourself?
I'm a pleasure to be around.
Yeah,
I'm
but both of you is just a bit too much sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's Alex. I blame that on Alex.
Hanging out with us is like when you're at school and you have a couple special kids in the class. They're just in the background, like drawing on walls with crayons.
Yeah, they're going
yelling
home.
and throwing shit.
Yeah, they're going home in a small bus.
Oh, we're cancelled. See ya. Nice knowing you.
Yeah, but I've been good. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, how you doing?
I'm great. I've been
Okay.
playing Halo the last week and a half again. Got back into it. Finished the first one. Finished Halo Reach. Was playing Halo 2 again today.
Isn't
Fucking
that like
awesome.
360 or are you playing it on PC?
Nah, I got the Master Chief Collection on PC.
Oh, God.
The remakes. It's fucking awesome. It's like
can't
reliving
even-
my childhood.
I can't even
Okay.
imagine the what's it called? The frame rate and all that shit.
Oh yeah, like 140 frames a second, 144 frames a second.
Horrible.
I'm on it. It's amazing.
No, it's not.
So, yeah,
All right,
I know, I'm
Ali,
good.
Let's go.
Today, I want to speak about something. We're gonna talk about a specific case. More than just the case itself, I want to have a social discussion on our opinions and thoughts when it comes to this specific case. This is quite a polarizing subject, I would say.
Okay.
So we're talking about the case of Jame Bulger.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of the case of Jame Bulger, Andy?
Maybe if you get into it, I'll know the story, but the name doesn't ring a bell.
So Jame Bulger was a 2-year-old boy that was murdered in 1993 in Liverpool, England.
Oh, God.
By 2 10-year-old boys, Robert Thompson and John Venables.
Yeah. Now I know. It's like the one with the video footage of them.
Yeah.
With the train.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I actually, I tried. I might not join for the entire episode because
we're not going in specific on the case because it is a very heavy case.
Yeah.
So I'm not going into details of what happened. Like, it's a caution for everyone. Like, I'm gonna mention some parts, but it is a heavy episode. But I more want to talk about.
You can. I don't mind.
Aftermath.
I don't mind you getting into details. It's just that I've tried. I sent you guys a text about this. I tried to do an episode on something that happened in Belgium that has to do with child murdering. And I used to be okay with that, but ever since I become a kid, I tend to put the face of my
Since
kid
you had
on
kid,
the
you mean?
victim's face.
yeah.
And like it's changed my perspective on all that.
Yeah,
So,
well, you let us know if it is too much for you.
yeah.
And
No.
for everyone that wants to do deeper research, there's a lot of out there. I'm not going to go into full details about everything because it is heavy. It's even heavy for me to talk about it because it's horrible. This case is horrible. So I'll just get into it, and then I want to get to the part that I actually want to bring up in the discussion. I just want to have a conversation, basically, because those are the type of episodes that I like to do.
Yeah.
I like to do more social talk, commentary, and our opinions. February 12th, 1993, Jame Patrick Bulger was abducted, tortured, and killed by 2 10-year-old boys, Robert and John. The kidnapping took place at the New Strand shopping centre in Bothell, Liverpool. He was taken from there onto a rail track 4 kilometres away from the shopping centre, where the boys proceeded to torture him. He was kicked and they threw stones on him, and eventually they left his body on the train tracks so it would appear as an accident, as the train had run him over. He died before he actually did get hit by a train. The body got hit by a train after he passed away, but he was dead before.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, he was found by other kids playing around the rail track. And that's when the investigation started. The police managed to, they did the video footage and they found these 2 boys. They've been roaming around the shopping center. They tried to kidnap another kid before, but the mom intervened. And then they found James just standing there alone. So they took him and walked away with him.
How was a 2-year-old by himself?
Oh, the mom was in the shop and got distracted. But that's the thing. That's what's scary. That's every parent's nightmare. Just looking away for 2 seconds.
Every time we go anywhere, like if we go to an amusement park or my daughter leaves to school, I cannot tell you how many times I've explained to my 11-year-old, look, it doesn't take a minute for somebody to kidnap you. It literally takes 5 to 6 seconds and you're done. Whatever your reaction is within those 5 to 6 seconds, that's what's going to either save you or what's going to have you kidnapped. So, you need to run to anybody. I don't care if it's not me, just somebody close by. I keep telling her that. Every so often, I find myself in a conversation where she just randomly thinks something social is acceptable. For example, she's expected at a certain time to be home, 20 past. I literally once, just without saying anything to anybody in the factory, just picked my keys up my car because like it was 4:30 and she wasn't home. That was 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't hear from her, and I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna go check home. Now the thing was, she just forgot to put her phone that she has at home on loud, so I could hear her, like she could hear her own phone. It was still on vibrate, and so she didn't hear it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I immediately jump into action when I expect a reaction at a certain point. When I don't get reaction, I go out and investigate myself. I wouldn't recommend this to any parent. It might seem a little over the top, but like, I'd rather live my life checking up on my kids 4 times a day than have that 5-second distraction.
Yeah.
And
but that's
having
the thing,
what happened there
I think
happened to me because
yeah.
That
is the thing that I think is interesting, like in the modern day, because obviously now kids have phones, they have watches with GPS on, so the parents can track them.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was a kid, it was like, oh, we're going to the park. Okay, be home around this time.
Oh yeah, I grew up the same way.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, like in the sense, like not having like access to all this things to communicate with, like giving your kid a phone, it also creates this fear, because if you don't get a response, it creates this fear factor.
Yeah. Do you think it's healthy to have that sort of fear factor?
Absolutely. But at the same time, it's like how most kids in our generation grow up, and like not everyone, obviously this is a very extreme case.
But anyway, when it comes to safety, like, I don't know, it's difficult. How do you keep your kids safe? Like,
you can't
these days.
Like
you can't.
you can't. And that is a big, like we talked about this in the having a kid episode that I did. That is a fear. Like I'm too paranoid. Like I'm fucking scared of everything.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I have pets. Like I have rats, and fucking. I threw a fit if like I'm scared that something might happen to them. Like, oh no, I left this on. This might cause this, and Alex is like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah, she literally runs around the house unplugging every electrical appliance. And what the fuck are you doing?
Well, they could bite in the cable and get electrocuted.
No, but they're in a cage.
No, but it's more if something sparks and the house sets on fire.
It could spark it, then unplug it when we go to sleep. Just plug it in, use the thing, and unplug it. Like,
but it's more sense. Like if we are home, at least I know I can try to do something. Like if I can't stop the fire, at least I know I can take them out of the apartment. But if I'm not home and something happens and the door is locked and no one can get in, well, okay,
you're nuts.
I want to get. Yeah, I'm crazy. Yes. So I want to get back to a little bit of the actual what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So they found the 2 boys guilty. They found blood on their shoes, like of James, the 2-year-old boy, and they eventually confessed to the murders. It were like the interviews obviously were very hard because they're dealing with kids, and they said it's like pulling teeth because you get a lie, then they start crying. And they go back, and it was very hard, like even for the policemen involved. The murder trial started November 1st, 1993. It was conducted as an adult trial. They had to sit there without their parents throughout the whole trial. And they were sentenced at age 11. They were found guilty of murder by the Preston court.
How do you...
It was more
as a fucking parent. How do you wrap your head around your own kid doing that? How do you understand that? I
don't know.
As a human being, like, you've created something. Like, that's the way I see my kids. You've created something, and it's your own blood, and like, it's your jizz and her fucking egg. You know,
and you brought him up, right?
Yeah.
As well, like, and you try to teach him.
How do you sit there and watch your kid at 10 years realize?
See, but this is the bit where I want to get into. So obviously, they're below the age of 18, or in in England during that time it was 15. You can't be sentenced if you're under the age of 15.
You mean as an adult trial?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was handed as an adult trial, but the punishment was an adult sentence.
Oh. Okay.
Thompson and Venable became the youngest convicted murderers of the 20th century. And obviously, since they can't be put into prison because they're too young, for juveniles, they can only be sentenced, and that is to be detained during Her Majesty's pleasure. That's what it's called. So they get taken by the state, basically.
Yeah.
They have to take care of them.
Until the lizard lady decides that they're allowed out, or
during
for her pleasure.
Yeah. During Her Majesty's pleasure. That is what it's called.
So is that when she's masturbating?
Oh, my God. But what is so weird about this case is that the judge decided to release pictures and the names of the boys. So he released to the public their faces and their names, which obviously people in Liverpool went absolutely apeshit. Like during the trial, like when they first started the trial, like people, like it was nearly a chaos because people wanted to kill these kids. And like I can, in a sense, understand the outrage, but at the end of the day, they're still kids. Mm-hmm. So it feels a bit weird watching grown men wanting to kill 10-year-old boys because like you want to do something horrible because they did something horrible.
It's human nature.
Yeah, I know, but that's what boggles my mind. But what is even more fucked up is that the judge also decided that no more information about their kids and their future and anything about them would be released.
Yeah.
So they were forever encapsulated as 10-year-old murderers.
Yeah.
But they were giving new identities and anything, but still people will still be looking for them. So a lot of other kids got beaten up because they were mistaken for being them.
For them, yeah.
Yeah. Like there was a woman somewhere else that got threatened because they thought it was the mom of one of the kids and they threatened to bomb her house.
Jesus.
Yeah. They went to a home where it was basically they got restricted. They went to school as normal. They had schools in this homing system and they got regular meals. They got locked in at night, but they still like were able to be kids in a sense. Yeah. With a regular visit to the psychiatrist too.
Do you have any idea? I'm gonna put myself through this anyway. I gotta know. What was their explanation as to why they did what they did?
They don't know. They just. I'm pretty sure I didn't dig into it too deeply because I didn't want to go into the actual case. Did they watch a movie or something like that, or like it's probably something like that. Like
I'm pretty sure that Venables guy is just a sociopath.
Psychopath, I'm just trying. No, but there's two, Alex. There's two kids. Like, what are the odds?
Yeah, but one goes.
If two adults find each other in killing, I can get that. Like, there's other shit that happened in England, like Fred and Mary West, I think their names were. I can get that because you see shit in your life that you don't want to see. But 10-year-old is like so pure and is like you haven't really gone through trauma. I mean, I'm not gonna go out on a limb unless you've been dealt a pretty fucking shitty fucking hand. You know,
the thing is, like, these kids came from a very poor background. Like, one of the dads had walked out. They had social problems. So that's the thing. It's a social thing. And psychopaths are gonna be psychopaths at the end of the day, in my opinion. Like it's just a ticking time bomb. Yeah, and for them to go to that extreme so early on, it's.
But I also think it's easier if one of them, like I think it's Venables, the one that's still in jail, right?
Yeah.
I think, and he was probably, in my opinion, the psychopath one. And I think kids are easy to get another kid to peer pressure them into joining them if they're friends, right? Like, hey, no, come, we're doing this. And if the other friend didn't have the confidence to tell his other friend no, so he just kind of went along with it. But I think that Venables
murder, like even for a 10-year-old, you know what death is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting, like, like I said, I didn't want to do a full deep down on because it's a very complicated case and it's very horrible. But I wanted to get more the social like aspect is because they were sentenced and they lived in this home and people were outraged because news would come out that like they got to go to the swimming pool and do exercise. People, why do they have the right to do that? But like, where do you draw the line where rehabilitation?
Where does the kid stop and the murderer begin?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like we have prisons and sentences and stuff like that, but we want to rehabilitate. Obviously, there are some people we will never be able to rehabilitate and bring back into society. But at the same time, they were 10-year-old. Like they were 10 when they committed this crime. They were 11 when they were sentenced.
I'll give you the counterpoint.
Oh, yes, please.
If a 10-year-old can murder, then as far as I'm concerned, they're a bad egg. Some people are just bad. There's nothing you can do. The parents couldn't do anything because they're psychopaths. So as far as I'm concerned, why should they get the right to go to the pool? To me, they're not a 10-year-old kid anymore. If a 10-year-old kid murders, that's not like, they threw some rocks and smashed a fucking glass window or stole a candy bar.
Well,
they killed a child.
I agree.
And not through negligence.
I know they know what death is, but do they have the same equivalent of guilt and knowing what they're doing at that age?
They don't understand.
As let's say Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
he knew he was picking up the wrench to bash the woman's fucking brains in because that's what he had planned out.
But I would say these kids could have become the next Ted Bundy, maybe.
Yes, but that's what I'm going to add in as well. Another comment is like during the police interview, one of the kids, I can't remember if it was Thomas or Venable, asked if the ambulance came to pick him up to bring him back to life.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah,
and also a counterpoint to your argument, what about the kid that eventually maybe got peer pressured into doing this? He's not a psychopath, but he probably is in the sense like something did trigger because he still committed murder. But is he still a bad egg? And can't be rehabilitated at 10 years old, 11 years old.
Too bad. You fucked up your lot in life. Like, I'm sorry. You didn't just kill a kid like, I pushed him and he fell off the fucking swings and died. You took him, you threw rocks at him, sticks and stones and left him on train tracks. That's not just a killing, an accident.
This as a father, like... I don't know. I agree with both sides. It's so 50-50 because
it's so hard. Like I'm not leaning towards any side.
It's true what Alex says. If it was cut his throat because they did it in a movie, then I'd be like, okay, I get that. It's not justified what you did, but like there is a reasoning that I can understand. They watched a kid die. It wasn't murder. It was the torture that got to me.
Yeah.
Because torture implies, because murder implies that you've seen something and you want to recreate it. Torture implies that you want to see someone suffer and to have that emotion. To have that emotion at 10 years old is... I
think because I also listened to a thing about this, and it must have been that they seen murder somewhere, and
probably they lived in Liverpool.
Fuck off. Jesus,
but one of the kids
that's it for the listeners in Liverpool.
Casual Saturday night.
But one of the kids said he just kept getting up. That's why they kept throwing stones at him. Like. But it's so fucked up, and that's like because maybe they thought, if I do this, then I can achieve like killing, but obviously they didn't think it through how much it actually takes to kill a human being in a sense, and especially by the way they did it.
There's very little that I have problems with as far as it goes to like serial killers and all that shit. There's a couple of cases that has always stood out for me, and one of them is being, which I definitely want to cover. Maybe I'll do him next, as Albert Fish, the Gray Man. The other one is about a Chinese, I don't know if it's Chinese or Japanese girl that was tied to a radiator and like 2 weeks of torture. Jeez. And and it's like even putting baseball bats in places where it don't belong. It's like horrible fucking torture.
Ouch. Yeah.
And it's the case from the 10-year-olds. I've there's few cases that I've strayed away from when looking into them, and clearly, like, my curiosity is always like on the border of wanting to investigate this case and like looking at it deeper and wanting to understand what that mindset would be like, because it's usually pretty easy for me to understand these cases.
Yeah.
But in this case,
it's difficult. It's hard.
It's unfathomable to realize like what was going through their heads. Like Jeffrey Dahmer, so fucking easy. Like, this guy was sick, he wanted a sex slave, he wanted a zombie. Poop. That was it. Okay, I get that reasoning. Like Bundy, every girl he killed was a reference to his ex. Like, you know, was exposed to pornography. Fucking the Night Stalker, you know, Richard Ramirez, he was into Satanism, and like, these are all things I can snap with. Like, I get that. I get where the idea of killing somebody and torturing somebody comes from. With a 10-year-old kid, there is no solid reasoning. Hence, I don't get this case. Like, it boggles my fucking mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how do you treat what you don't understand? Like, that's the fucking kicker. How do you go about it? Do you go about like Alex says? Like, oh no, they tortured him. He got up. They kicked him again, and he got up again. And they fucking threw a rock at him then. And he got up again, and they threw another rock. Now this time they threw 2 rocks. Yeah. Or do you go with what me and Ali are more like inclined saying? It's like, they're still kids.
Yeah.
Because they are.
But that's my biggest issue with this whole case. It's like, I can see both arguments in a sense, like why people are so outraged, which it should be. People should be angry for what happened. But at the same time, it's when do we as a society start taking responsibility and actually trying to heal this broken, because they're broken. Like, the boys are broken. Like, they did something horrible, but at the end of the day, they're also broken themselves.
Do you know where they are now?
Yeah. Well, Venables is in prison. He got sentenced
for pedophilia when he got released.
He got for downloading and spreading pornographic children porn. So he was sentenced in 2018 to 40 months, and Thompson has not done anything. So he's out there. With a new identity and being
in a gay relationship, and apparently he was the alleged ringleader.
He was the alleged
ringleader.
Yeah,
not Venables.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He was then allegedly, but as I say, we don't know what happened. Like, I don't think even they know exactly what happened, because they kept blaming each other. So how do you really know?
Yeah, I mean, they're kids, right? Like, oh, I'm in trouble. No, he did it.
Yes, but that's what I mean.
He did it.
Exactly.
But what is so, like, my biggest problem with this case is the fact that the judge decided to release a picture, release their names. Because there was a similar case in Norway in 1994 in Trondheim, where two 6-year-old boys killed a 5-year-old boy, Silje. But the judge decided not to release their pictures or their names, as you usually do when it comes to cases when it revolves kids. And they were also not in an adult trial.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't get why the judge decided to release their names. And because obviously that would fuel the rage of the people towards these 2 kids even more.
Well, I guess that's sort of a thing where a judge is. We cannot forget that judges have. There's no matter how well they know the law, they're still people.
Yeah.
and they still fuck up. And I think that's just what it is. It's just a major fuck up on the count of the judge.
But I also think there is precedence if it's a case, if they can class it of public interest, like of extreme public interest, where they can or they do release more information.
Yeah. Why would it be public interest if it involves 2 10-year-old kids?
Yeah,
I mean,
probably because of the outrage.
There's no public.
But that's the thing. It's like, it's a public interest. You enrage the people even more, but then at the same time, you also hide any further, like, because you can't tell the process. Let's say, he released the pictures, he released the names, but then left the investigation open and their case open in the sense that people can actually look into, see their rehabilitation, how they're actually doing. Yeah. But no one could know that. And that information till this day cannot be spread. If people kept sending pictures around, like, oh, we think this is the guy and this is how he looks now, and people were spreading those pictures, but no one knows. Maybe, and no one knows how he's doing, like how these 2 boys are doing nowadays. So they're not boys anymore, they're adults, but still.
Look, all I'm saying, I'm not saying I agree, I'm just saying there is cases where the judges will release information if they think it's like important to the public to know this information.
Well, that's another thing I think is weird, because here in Belgium there's actually a law against I think every country should have this, against a criminal wanting to be seen or not. Because the case that I was investigating, and I couldn't, like, I was literally at my work watching videos in tears. It was about a guy that basically changed the entire way the daycare places worked. Yeah. Because I was literally in tears at my job. I sent you guys a message while I was researching this that I may not be able to handle this case. And I can't. I literally can't, because what this guy did was he walked into a daycare center with an automatic machine gun, and he just started blasting everybody.
What a fucking...
Yeah.
Like, how fucked up do you have to be to do that?
Yeah, his name is Kim de Gelder. That's Kim space DE space GELDER. He's the biggest piece of shit ever known to Belgium, besides Mark the True, who captured and raped kids. This guy, for about 2 weeks of his trial, had his face blurred out. The news, like the media, couldn't show his face. I think it's right that he has the right to do so. Due to huge public cry out, he decided to show his face to the world. Like, his guilt was so strong of what he did, like, because he later supposedly, I don't fucking believe it for a second, but this guy, he after that, he just told the press that, yeah, you can show my face now. I don't mind living with the repercussions of what I've done.
He's still in prison, right?
No, he's released. He's been released. I think so. I'm not sure. Maybe he's like on a couple of years, but like, he did change the way Belgium looked at daycare and how we should retrieve. Like, there's a code now, especially for the daycare center where my kids are going. You cannot enter that place without it, like, being coded. There's no way you're getting into a daycare in Belgium. No fucking way. If you're not a parent, but they don't know you.
Does Belgium still have that law where the people can choose themselves if they want to blur out their face or not?
Yeah, they do. They still do. And I mean... I don't think, besides the kids itself or the parents, it's a judge's job to do that. These kids were underage. There's only one person that is allowed to, like, if that parent was, me as a parent, if my kid would do that, either out of shame or out of pure fear for my own kid's life, which would be very, egotistical, but still, you can see what these people are dealing at. It's still your child. No matter what your child, I get that. No matter what your child becomes, it's still your child. You still created it. But I wouldn't allow my kid to be seen, and it would piss me off tremendously if somebody else did it for me.
Yeah.
No matter if it's a judge doesn't make you a dad. A judge doesn't make you a mom, you know.
But in that case, like, out of curiosity, let's say that this was your, like, kid, like, that did something
that
horrible.
Killed or that was killed?
That killed.
Okay.
For example, when it comes to blurring out the face, also obviously to protect your child, as you were saying.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you also fear for your life? Because then people would know that's the parent. It's your fault.
I don't think I could stay in that country, to be honest. If my kid were at 10 years old decided to kill a 2-year-old, I would feel so much shame. And I don't think it'll ever, I mean, never say never, but I don't think, I think I do a good enough job so that situation doesn't happen.
No, absolutely.
Like,
and obviously,
I don't,
for the public, this is a very extreme case. This does not happen often.
But I genuinely, I do not think that I could stay in that country. That would no longer, like, I would get the fuck out of Dodge and start anew somewhere else. Like, honestly.
Would you, like, I'm sorry, this might get touchy, but would you abandon your kid that's during that process?
That's in jail. I wouldn't say it's not my kid anymore, and I'd contact it any way I can to keep talking to it. But with the choices that it made, it would have to live with the consequences. Consequences being me not being in that country anymore because I have 2 other kids to take care of. And I want them to have a normal childhood. Also, he or she made his or her choices and put me in that situation.
Yeah.
So that is a choice that I would still have contact with it. I'm sure. I would write and like call and like maybe even sneak into Belgium into another name and like, you know, fucking go to jail every couple of months or whatever. But for me to be living in the same like country as I couldn't do it. I don't get how you can be that lax as well. Like, that seems like a very relaxed point of view, though. Is like, oh, my kid killed somebody and I'm staying here. Like, same house, same. I'm pretty sure if that were to happen to me, anything I'd look is like, oh, that he fucking touched that couch. That needs to go. Like, that's the memory of. Yeah.
What would your mindset be, Alex? Like, let's say if your hypothetical kid were to kill someone.
If your rat killed a 2-year-old.
I just make sure it ate the whole body so there's less evidence. No, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a parent. It's like, how could I possibly say?
Yeah, but in the mindset you are not.
I actually am curious because you're not a parent, which would make me curious. I'm talking from a parent's point of view.
I would say also, like, being someone I find I can very easily kind of like, not like you're done type of mental. Like, I can very easily, like, I don't get, you know, oh, like, whatever, you know, friendship breaks down, just like, yeah, that's cool, whatever.
Yeah, but a friendship and a kid are different
I
things.
know, but I'm saying, but I can think like that, and I do think like that in different ways about life. I think I would probably just see ya. Probably like Andy, I'd probably leave.
Would you get out of the country as well?
I would definitely move. I mean, I don't think you could possibly stay there. And you'd probably move very far away, like even if it's the same country, but you know, the complete other side or something, and go to some fucking small town or something where no one.
I'd probably go to Germany because, like, you know, they have history of accepting
murderers,
certain classes of people.
Yeah, that's true. But, I've heard they have really good camps in Germany.
Summer camps.
Jesus. But yeah, look, I think I would probably just be like, see ya. No, you're not my kid anymore. Like, you're a because you're not really a person anymore. Like, you're a monster. Like, sorry. Same thing, like, if you murdered someone, I would probably be like, she wasn't my wife.
Yeah.
I don't know her.
I don't know. Like,
wait. Hold up. Would you not stand by your wife if she killed somebody?
Fuck no. I'd be the first person giving evidence that I think she's capable of doing it.
Dude, come on now. I would bury a fucking body. I
would stand by her until she got convicted, and then I'd be like, see ya. I mean, I ain't doing some
That's
fucking.
Where it stops for you?
We've done long distance. I ain't doing jail time now, like jail constant visits or whatever.
Didn't hide it well enough, you dick.
No. I mean, let's face it. The victim in this case would probably be me anyway. So I don't think I have much of a say, really. But yeah, I think I would just see you, like. Yeah, move and like if I had other children, I'd be like, no, don't like forget, like cut that kid out of your life. You will never see them again. We're gonna live a normal life, and you're gonna brought up like normal kids.
Yeah, but I don't. Do you ever have a normal life after that?
No. But you try your best.
I mean,
and you take them to therapy. Probably the whole family, I guess. Really.
So you wouldn't contact him in any way, like no letters, no.
Nope.
Remember, he did this at 10 years old. It's not like he was an adult, fully functioning, knowing what he was doing.
Yeah, no. Like in this case, it wasn't like they just, we're playing Batman or something, and I like picked up a kitchen knife and poked him. It was literally like we just kept beating the fucking poor kid over and over and over. It's like, no.
Yeah.
And I do believe that some people are just bad, like bad, straight up.
Yeah.
And some people, doesn't matter how long you try to rehabilitate them, they will never, ever, ever be rehabilitated.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's very odd to me because I would think that before I was a dad, I would literally think the same as you.
Yeah, that's what I said before. I'm not a dad, so it's hard to say.
Absolutely. It's fun to see that that reminisce in you. Or to have that reminisce in you. But I honestly, when I became a dad, shit changed. There was a click I made. And I don't think I could ever not contact my kid. I mean, maybe for a couple of years, like I'd give myself that.
But wouldn't that be the time where your kid needed you the most though? Like just after?
Yeah, but he did kill a 2-year-old kid. There needs to be time for me to forgive him as well for what he did.
But they don't understand that. They would just see that as abandonment.
It's not, yeah, but that's his problem, not mine, honestly.
So at the end of the day, they wouldn't want to have contact with you when you decided 2 years later, okay, I'm here now again.
No. It wouldn't be like that. You can't put it like that. Like, I would explain, like, look, I needed this time to heal because of what happened and what you did, and I wouldn't bullshit about it because I'm not about that life, you know. I've never done bullshitting with my kids because like 2 weeks ago, my 11-year-old was like, you know, there's a lot happening right now. Let's just say that she's not at a point where she's starting to bleed, but it like she knows it's not far off. And she was like, all right, well, I've heard there's some changes, Andy, because, like, she has a different dad. I'm not her real dad.
Yep.
But she was like, yeah, you're not my dad.
But you are her dad.
Yeah. So, well, at least I'm the better choice in this situation.
Okay. You didn't leave for cigarettes, Elias. So.
She was like, all right, well, I know. And she refused to talk to her mom about this because she knew she was just going to be like, Vicky would have been like, oh my God, and what do you ask me? And she's horrible.
What is she,
with
Mickey
that
Mouse?
Shit. Yeah. What are you asking me? She's just like, no, but Vicky is absolutely trash with female shit.
I'm just going to cut it there. Oh, he glitched out. Whoops.
But so she was like, you know, shit happens. So am I gonna bleed? And I was like, yeah, there's gonna be blood out of your vagina. She's like, what, is there anything else? And so I explained to her the whole spectrum, like, you're gonna grow hair down there too. Like, you can shave it and it's fucking fine. Nobody's gonna care about that and shit like that. You just do whatever you feel comfortable with. Like, it's fine. And like, if you want to like have the girly thing of what to do, then you talk to your grandma, because like she'll give the better advice.
Does she still remember it, or was it too long ago?
Nah, she's fine. She's
Okay.
like she's solid now. She needed that genuine talk, and I don't believe in doing it anything else. I don't believe in telling your kid like, oh no, yeah, babies are made by the flowers and the bees. I'm like, no, just dad gets horny, so horny sometimes, and just rams on your mom like a fucking freight
You see
train.
Dad when he's all like sweaty
And he goes like-
yelling.
Oh my God.
because
And he
he's
just
fixing
goes
a
like,
machine.
Stop.
That's
Come
what
like a
I'm
mom
cutting
says.
this off right now.
And she's like, choo choo, and
I'm
like,
cutting this off. Stop it.
No.
I'm very proud of you that you had your moment with your daughter and that you taught her. You shouldn't have said anything about the racers, because she should love her natural body as it is. She can figure out the racers when she gets older.
Hey, it's better she uses
No, but
it there than as an
what I'm
emo.
saying as a father figure, I'm never bullshitting. Like, I give it to them straight because I believe in that. Because I don't want them to grow up to be bullshitters. And so that's the exact same way I would be treating them if they were in that situation. I'd take a break for like 2 to 3 years to heal myself, and then come back and say like, look, kid, this is what you did. I want to be there for you. I just don't know how the fuck I'm going to do that because you killed a 2-year-old kid. So you tell me. And then you get into contact with the shrinks or whatever they have. And you just go from there. You know, let professionals talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can say out of my... if I try to put myself in a situation like that, I would try to be there as much as I could to be part of the rehabilitation.
You would have a meltdown if that happened.
Yes, I would. I don't think I'll live.
Would
through
you
that.
be able to be there?
I would do my
Allie?
best. I would.
Yeah.
Because, like, either I have to put myself, did I do something to cause this to happen? Or to try to figure out what caused this to happen and how can I do to fix my kid.
But
do it better.
you'd be putting yourself in a situation with no answers.
Yes, but at the end of the day, it's still like I see it as a perspective. I created that. It's mine.
Yeah.
And now it's affected someone else and caused something horrible. I need to try to do the best as a person, like as a mother, to try to make sure that this never happens again. Like, do everything that's in my power. Obviously, in some cases, you can't control it, but I would try to do everything to
All right.
try to
then
justify it.
Let me ask you another question. Do you genuinely believe in rehabilitation?
Yes. Obviously,
Okay.
it's not possible for everyone, but yes, I do.
Okay. I mean,
Okay.
no, honestly, I don't. I believe in scaring people into acting right. That's one thing I believe in. But rehabilitation, like with as far as it comes to pedophiles, I can't.
Like, now you're going a completely different way.
No,
Like-
evil is evil. Evil is evil, no matter where on the scale. Evil is evil, right? You told it yourself. The kid killed somebody at 2 years old when he was 10, and then later became a pedophile.
No, he's not.
Right?
Yeah, one of them is.
So you
yeah.
can't,
One of them
So
is.
you can't tell me that it's not in the same class. Like evil is linked to evil alone,
Yeah, but
and
how?
nothing else.
But how? If you stop something, like, it's harder for me. In my opinion, it's harder to rehabilitate adult
do you
people.
genuinely think they had a 10-year-old kid that they didn't try to rehabilitate him? He still grew up to be a pedophile.
Yes, but that is one case that you couldn't fix. Like, he was broken, and I don't know if it's just something to do with his rehabilitation problems. Maybe his parents went there to help him to come through and to accept what happened and to get him to moving forward. In this case, one of the people turned out to be better because he has not reoffended, and the other one did. So there must be a difference.
Well,
and they're two different families. So maybe the family did something in this case, and the other
I'm going to correct you there. The other kid hasn't been caught doing anything.
Yes, but still,
that is offensive. That doesn't mean that he's a genuinely good.
So you're
person.
telling me that you haven't done shit that you know that are actually illegal? Does that mean you're a horrible person? Like just because you didn't get caught?
How many times have I talked about the horrible shit that I've done on this show?
That's what I mean. It's like, yeah, we are people. We will do horrible things.
Yeah, but there's a scale from like stealing
but why are we automatically assuming that this other person, like Thompson in this case, has done horrible things as, let's say, distributing child porn and not got caught, but the other guy got caught? Like, we don't know that. So why are we just assuming that he will go out to do horrible things instead of thinking that his rehabilitation program actually worked and he's a functioning person in society that probably still does dodgy shit because we all do them. But at the end of the day, he still will forever live with the trauma and the shit that he did and has to live with that.
Oh, that's interesting to me.
Okay, well,
do you genuinely think that they're traumatized?
Yes.
Because of what they did or because of what the law put them through?
Probably a bit of both.
I genuinely, from all the like murder cases, and it's a shit ton, from everything I've watched and seen, and like murderers and serial killers and fucking maniacs, axe wielding, flame throwing maniacs I've watched, I genuinely have never thought as the act of murder as a trauma to the killer. I'll tell you why. I genuinely believe that the act of murder for a killer is satisfaction, is a fulfillment of what they have in their head as right, and not a trauma. A trauma is something you go through that you don't want. Mm-hmm. Killing a 2-year-old at 10 years of age because you wanted to know what it was like is a fulfillment of something.
Mm-hmm. But still,
so
then as a person,
I never think you get traumatized by something you fulfill in life. But then as an adult,
you're growing up and you know what you did, and now you know what is right from wrong, because somewhere, obviously, they didn't know what was right and what was wrong.
I think they knew
it's a hard fucking discussion to talk, and we
you're
need
such a hopeful person.
Yeah, I know, I'm hopeless.
And let's face it, most of those people.
No, I'm not saying hopeless. I'm saying hopeful.
Yeah, you believe too much in people.
Yes, I do. I'm sorry.
And look, all I'll say is do they get traumatized really because of what they did, or they just get traumatized because they got caught and then they had to go through all that bullshit? And now they're sitting there in a fucking cell all day and like, oh, well, if I say I feel bad, I go and I get out quicker because I get remediated and then they let me back outside. Like people
this is why we're not psychologists or
exactly.
If I was a psychologist, I would solve it like the Americans. An electric chair for every criminal. Steal a candy bar, see ya.
This is a great thing for me too, Alex, because if we ever do get to meet in real life, I get to fuck your wife in real life, and she'll just be like, Andy wouldn't cheat. He wouldn't do that. While I'm railing her. She'd believe in my goodness, and I'd be balls deep in that bitch.
This week's episode. I'm gonna pretend like I didn't hear
such
that.
A wholesome, good father.
Hell.
Teaching about the birds and the bees. And
remind me to never go to Belgium.
Pollinating the flower.
He takes so good care of his killer.
Papa Andy, what's the birds and the bees?
Yes, I'm gonna cut this off because it's.
Well, it's been going for like an hour.
Yeah, it's going stupid ways. Like it's a hard discussion to talk about to begin with, but now it's just going stupid.
It is so hard. But it was enlightening to me to see the reaction of two people that aren't parents, to see what you guys feel and think about this case, because like it's weird. It's weird.
I think we have opposite opinions, you and I.
Yes, absolutely. But that's the beauty of our podcast. We're 3 different people with 3 different opinions, and we like to talk with them. And so if you want to continue listening to 3 different people discussing about different things and their different opinions, don't forget to subscribe and follow our journey on this thing that is our podcast. You can also come and join us live at the Discord. We record and listen to us when we record live and hear the shit that doesn't go into the actual episode.
There's a lot of that.
Like this. Bleep.
That.
You can just bleep that
I'm
over.
going to cut that and use that from now on. Like every time something needs to be bleeped, it's just you going bleep.
Yeah. So you can find the link to the Discord in the description down below. And also don't forget to come and follow us at our Instagram. And our handle is, Andy, you can say it because I said the Discord thing today.
Okay. At .random.podcast. That is AT.random.podcast. See, Ali, how you do that without looking shit up?
Yeah.
When have I looked shit up? Okay, well, Alex, our Twitter.
You look shit up before you say it every week. You have to look that up.
I did it for the first few weeks, but not anymore. Our Twitter, Alex?
Twitter is AT_randompod. So that is AT_randompod. So go on there, retweet all our stuff, go on other podcasts and talk shit about them, and just say how good we are on their posts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
What's the hashtag for this week? Didn't we start a hashtag thing last time?
Hashtag
getting
railed by Andy.
I think it was something like this. Like, Ali, ask the people a question about this episode that has something to do about this episode that they have to reply to on Twitter, and then we give them a hashtag where they can reply to it.
That's a good question. How do you have a question for this episode? There are so many questions.
Do you, if it was your kid that committed the crime, do you keep in contact with them and try to stay as a parent, or do you just pack up your bags and see you later?
That's too obvious. You gotta get creative with that shit. Look, I'm gonna fucking say it. If it was your kid and the law didn't exist, how would you punish your kids for killing a 2-year-old kid? You can do that with the hashtag straight up the pooper. That is, again, hashtag straight up the pooper, to where we'll find your answers on Twitter, and we will discuss them in next week's episode.
That's a weird hashtag for talking about punishing children, but all right.
I'm just giving advice here. I'm being a dad.
Yes, okay. Well, thank you for listening in. We'll join you next week. Or you can come and join us next week.
I'll do something fun, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ali's always a Debbie Downer.
I'm not a Debbie Downer. It's an interesting thing to discuss.
It is an interesting thing to discuss, yeah.
But it was dark, so I'll bring something maybe lighter. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'd love to see you do a happy episode. We haven't had a happy Alex episode.
Let's do Candy Mountain.
Oh,
the story of Candy Mountain.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.